Hello and welcome to the lecture. All right, so we just did our flexi binding. Let's go ahead and start on layer binding. This is it's actually a lot more simple process. So same thing, let's go ahead and select our left arm bone group there. With the add points tool, I'm gonna go ahead and first take all those out. With the add points tool, A on the keyboard, go ahead and drag out your bones. Okay. And like I said, this is really simple and it's really handy if you know this keyboard shortcut. Alt right click, Alt right click, Alt right click. As you can see, it selected the 3 different layers and it's cycling through the different layers there in my layers menu. Okay. Because this is all you're going to do. I'm going to Alt right click the shoulder or the bicep or whatever I called it. And I'm going to select the bone. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to select this right here. This is bind layer. This is one of the binding tools. And then I'm going to select the bone. I'm going to alt right click. It is already selected. Select the bone. Alt right click. Still, it's already selected. And I'm going to select the bone. And this is it. With layer binding, you do not need the bone strength. So actually, before I do anything, let's go ahead and go back to our strength. And let's reduce these to nothing. Okay. And now when I go and I hit manipulate bone on my keyboard or the Z key, it's going to give me the option to move the layers. Okay. So that is a really simple way to rig. It doesn't always work, but for example, like this, I believe in my main character. Let me go ahead and take that strength out if it'll let me. I don't know what's going on. There we go. A lot's been happening to this guy. Poor guy. He's been getting mutilated. Yeah, it looks like it's just the layer that is being moved. Yep. So that is a really simple way. And like I said, just that way there gave me this animation. Okay, it allowed me to watch his arm. Extend, bend, and extend. Check that out. And that is how quick I was able to do that with Anime Studio. Sometimes you'll have to tweak it, but I know my rig pretty well for now. So I know that his hand, if we break down the hand again, I know his hand comes out to there, but I made it circular so that when I do put it at a bend, it doesn't have like some jagged piece just poking out right there. It's circled. Okay, so it's rounded there at the top. As you can see, it's not going to be perfect all the way through. No rig is going to be perfect. You'll have to make a lot of changes to it. You'll have to do a lot of trial and error, figure out what works, what doesn't. Also, a key thing to know is no rig is going to be absolutely perfect. You're not going to be able to do 500 things with just one rig. For example, with this situation here, these basic movements here is probably all I could do with this character, okay? Just because of how he's set up. I can do some simple leg movements. If I wanted to get really, really in-depth into it, I could probably do a forward walk cycle. But this is pretty limited as far as what he can do, all right? And that is the same with any rig, is you might have to do more than one. So here's an example. Right there. That is actually not supposed to be his elbow, but it works really well because I have the, if I can highlight it, I have the forearm or the bicep there molded so that it looks like it's coming out like an elbow. And I'll get into, well, I already did in my character design, but that is why that is why I round everything in Anime Studio. Why I round off all the points so that there's no jagged edges on these joints there, okay? Because it gives it a pretty good looking effect. All right, so that is it for layer binding. I know it's real simple, real quick. Point binding is pretty much the same thing. So let's go ahead and jump into point binding, and I'll see you in the next lecture.